Lindsey Singer, communications director for Colorado Rising Action, and they've overspent to the tune of about $100 million. And now, with Prop CC and the snow job that it's being sold with, they want us to pony up our Tabor refund to pay not only for that, but for so much more. So the question is it time to hold them accountable for their reckless overspending habit with a resounding no on Prop CC? Lindsey Singer, Colorado Rising Action, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. And I would say it's long past time to hold them accountable for their reckless spending.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely crazy. And the way that it's being sold to us, a third of the money, if we de-Taborize, if we de-Bruce throughout the state, a third of the money will go to transportation, a third to K through 12, a third to higher education. Okay, all laudable, lofty goals. But the problem is there is nothing in the language that requires them to spend the money in that way. This money could just go anywhere, right?
Absolutely, it could. And you mentioned about the legislature overspending by at least $100 million at this point, and that's not part of the equation when they're talking publicly about Proposition CC, but that's just sort of hangs out on the sideline. And because Proposition CC doesn't require this money to go anywhere, the legislature can just move it anywhere they want, which will probably be covering their misspending.
Oh, they're pet projects, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this might sound like a rhetorical question, but why didn't the legislature see this coming since they've already overspent?
Yeah, the most frustrating thing is that they did see it coming. They purposely underestimated. So, for example, with the pre-K program, they purposely underestimated participation rates and enrollment in order to make it fit the budget without having to cut in other places. And people, Democrats on the budget committee have actually said we didn't know that this was coming, which is not true. They purposely underestimated participation in order to make it fit. And now, no one's surprised that it's coming in at a higher participation rate, and we're missing some funding.
Well, to say it's irresponsible is an understatement at best. Unfortunately, I can't feel any other way than the fact that it seems as though dissembling might be a nicer way of putting it, but it seems as though it's part of a shell game on the part of the legislature.
Right. It is their responsibility to manage our budget, and they're not doing that. So why would we give them more of our tax money?
So there's been some question about Prop CC because, of course, if you believe all the PR, all the rhetoric coming out for those that are pro Prop CC, they maintain that it's not a tax. How could it be anything but a tax when they're taking our Tabor refunds?
So they say it's not a change in their tax rate, which is true. But any reasonable person, if they're giving more money to the government and the government is spending it, consider that a tax increase. It's an increase on our tax liability. But because the legislature plays by different rules, their ballot language just had to pass by a simple majority. It didn't have to go through the title board or anything. So what we end up with is ballot language that starts out saying without raising taxes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, once again, I mean, who doesn't want to support education K through 12? Who doesn't want better roads? But it seems as though, once again, it's just a con job, the way that they're trying to sell this to voters. And, I've talked to your colleague at Colorado Rising Action, and he basically said that the bottom line, when you look at what's really going on here, okay, is that, once again, there are no rules, no regulations about how the money needs to be spent, and probably it would be in no short order. They would be coming back to us once again saying, we need more money for K-12. We need more money for higher education. We need more money for transportation issues.
Right. We've seen this happen before. We've been told that faster fees were the answer to our problem with roads, and Ref C was going to fix our roads, and then the hospital provider fee change was going to fix our roads. And none of that has happened, but still, with those three things, we're putting $3 billion more dollars every year towards our roads, and yet we have the worst rated roads in the nation, close to, and especially our rural roads are suffering. So it is definitely a con job. And what's really Michael, so he was going to come on with you. You mentioned my coworker, Michael Fields. He's running around speaking to chambers of commerce and different groups, Republican groups and nonpartisan groups, because the No on CC campaign has like half of the funding that the Yes on CC campaign. They have millions of dollars coming in from out of state
dollars.
Spenders.
Yeah, which should tell us everything that we need to know, because once again, Colorado is being used as a litmus test to see what can fly in other states.
Right, and people who support Prop CC have said that it's just a first step to repealing Tabor. We already know that they don't like Tabor, and people from out of state don't like Tabor because they want to help push through some of their pet projects here that would otherwise involve asking the taxpayers.
Lindsey Singer, Communications Director, Colorado Rising Action. You're going to love this one via text this morning at 31996. Gail says, did I hear you right? The Democrat-controlled state legislature here in Colorado has overspent? How can that be? Next, you'll tell me we're being lied to about Tabor. Oh, mercy me. I think he's being a little facetious. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so, but so it's not even just $100 million. That's just in programs that were passed in 2019. There are other funding responsibilities that we have to cover that the legislature can't cover at this point. So it's not a surprise that they're asking for more of our tax money, and we know that they'll come back and ask us again.
It's what they do. That's exactly what they do. How is the campaign progressing? Because, again, in talking with Michael Fields, your colleague at Colorado Rising Action, we talked a little bit about the fact that many voters going, well, that sounds like a good plan, supporting education, higher education, transportation, until they learn what's really at the heart of Prop CC. So it's all about educating them, because once the voters understand what's at play here, they do a 180.
Right. We've seen from polling and from personal experience that people just read the ballot language, starting without raising taxes, and as you mentioned, all these things that we do want to support. And then they say, yeah, that sounds great. But then you talk about it, and then the polling goes down. So we're hitting the pavement. We're hitting the airwaves. That's what we're doing. And the next ballots dropped at the beginning of this week. So we're really pushing hard this week. And for all the people that listen to your show are already engaged. So they need to vote no, and then go out and tell all their friends to also turn in their ballots and to vote why they should vote no.
Couldn't agree with you more. Lindsey Singer, Communications Director, Colorado Rising Action. Where can we learn more about your work at Colorado Rising Action?
You can go to coloradorisingaction.org, and to learn more about Proposition CC, you can go to votenoOnCC.com.
Thank you for being so fearlessly outspoken about what's really going down with Prop CC. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Gail.